Hey, welcome back to another daily study. I'm excited to be working with you guys on these. A lot of feedback's been coming in. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to everyone that's been leaving comments. Thank you to the people who have been sharing. Thank you to the people who have been liking and subscribing. The channel's been growing, so I really appreciate that. Today, we're going to be jumping in further with The Power of One More by Ed Mylett, and we're going to be talking about what I titled Practice Does Not Make Perfect. So this is from a snippet I took inside of the book. So if you're new to the channel, what we're going to do is I'm going to read through just a little snippet from the book, and then we're going to break it down and analyze it to really digest it and take in the information, because it's important to understand why practice does not, in fact, create perfection. Now, let's look at this. In the book, Ed Mylett writes, Tiger Woods does not just go through the motions when he practices hitting golf balls from 2 to 4 hours a day. He is obsessed with repetitively hitting each ball the right way with the same backswing, same stroke, and same follow through each time. If you watched The Last Dance, a documentary about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, you saw how hard Jordan pushed himself. You either got on board with Michael's level of practice and play, or you didn't last very long. Jordan didn't land on the record books by accident. He understood that you must put in the work and rack up the numbers when you practice so that you can rack up victories in all kinds when you play. Let's break this down, because this is pretty straightforward, and yet at the same time there's a lot of depth here, because oftentimes we hear that old adage that practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. And if you're practicing the wrong thing, which is what most people do, most people have built habits that are not working for them, they're working against them, which is in fact a form of practice. Their habits are deteriorating their life versus building it. So when Ed was breaking down and explaining Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan, those are two prime examples of individuals in their lives and careers who've utilized a intentional practice. They've actually thought about each rep, each activity, each action of doing it the absolute best that they can in that moment. And because they were constantly doing it the best, it meant they were at the edge of their performance, the edge of their capability consistently. And each time they did a little bit more, they were pushing in to a new territory, if you will, a new frontier. Now, for you, how you can implement this is recognizing when you're working out, when you're reading, when you're doing sales calls, when you're building your business, when you're practicing yoga, when you're stretching your body, when you're conversating with your friends. Are you taking it to the absolute best of your capacity, or are you simply just going through the motion? Even here, as I'm here doing these videos with y'all, anyone that started with me from day one can see these subtle improvements in my ability to communicate, maybe in my tonality, in my comfortability, in my ability to look at the camera. Things are constantly getting better because I'm thinking about it. Now I want to bring you back to the text, and let's look at this. It says Tiger Woods does not just go through the motion when he practices hitting the golf ball from 2 to 4 hours a day. So first off, let's just look at this for a minute. 2 to 4 hours a day. That's a lot of time put in to his craft. Right now, we're not talking about playing at the Masters. We're not talking about a championship. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're talking about practice, right? As Iverson would say, practice? You're talking about practice? We're talking about practice. So he's putting in 2 to 4 hours a day just in practice. And he's obsessed. Like, look at this word, obsessed, with repetitively hitting each ball the right way with the same backswing, the same stroke, and the same follow through each time. Have you ever worked out, and as you started to get near the end of your reps, or as you start to get way into the workout, maybe you're 30 minutes in, you start letting the form go, and instead of being very strict, you're now just kind of doing whatever, you're twerking your back, you're torquing and twisting and doing anything just to move the weight? What if instead every single set you did was with the best of your performance? You were absolutely on it about keeping the form right. And if that meant you dropped down from 10 reps to 7 reps, but you did that and now you built up a strong 10 reps, how would that affect your overall ability to perform down the road? Well, Tiger Woods did this, and he had a pretty successful career as a golfer. Michael Jordan, right? Let's look at what he says here. The Last Dance. So The Last Dance was a documentary about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. You saw how hard Jordan pushed himself. So one thing Jordan was animate about. And this is the same sort of obsession we saw with the late Kobe Bryant. Is these individuals showed up to practice, they showed up to the game, they showed up to the court, and they were there fully. I mean, they wanted to put in the work. They were on every play, on every dribble, on every shot. They were treating it like it was the last shot they might ever get. Are you doing that for yourself? How are you showing up? Again, I just want to emphasize, I want this to be a reflection on you, because when I read these texts, I take it personal. When I see, Michael Jordan, I'm reading Marlon Johnson pushed himself. And so you either got on board with Marlon's level of practice and play, or you didn't last very long. Now, check this out. Jordan didn't land in the record books by accident. Right? Success, sometimes we think success, some people are just so lucky. Oh my gosh, he's so lucky. He started investing in the right time. He got into the industry in the right time. Back in the 1990s, there wasn't the same level of competition that there is now in 2024. It's not the same. That's all a nice excuse that helps you stay broke, that helps you stay at the bottom. But recognize that it's the work that these people put in, right? That Jordan said, you either step up to my level or you will not last very long. And his success was not by accident. He understood that you must put in the work. You must put in the reps. Stop complaining about the results you didn't receive for the work that you didn't do. It's not ever. That math don't math. Now, when you practice, what you can do is you can focus on racking up your victories, or you can focus on, I don't even know what else you would want to focus on. Quite frankly, what's the alternative? Personally, I say give it a try. Start to look at your day today or your day tomorrow if it's late in the evening, and ask yourself, how can I show up tomorrow and do everything with the highest intentionality? How can I give one more to everything I do? How can I go out there and really put forth the best intention to perform at the absolute top of my capacity? Let me know what you guys think, by the way. Do you agree with my suggestion? Do you agree with the way I broke this down, or do you disagree? Leave a comment below. And again, if you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be posting things like this every single day. This is how I go through and read a book. So even when you're not here, this is typically what I do. I read books and then I come back and I start to really dissect it. And I'm looking for comprehension. I'm looking for implementation. I'm looking for instruction, so that I can ultimately take the information, bring it back into my life, and start to produce results. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you on the next video.